Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It is transfer time. The transfer window is about to open. Clubs are making signings. People are making their moves. And Tottenham Hotspur, once again, I feel like we say this every summer, have a huge transfer window upon us. And the usual questions are going to be asked from the usual people, from me, from you, from every fan, from every YouTuber, from every pundit. What are Tottenham Hotspur going to do in this transfer window? Are we finally going to pretend we're a big club and act like it? Are we finally going to get into the Champions League and say, you know what? Let's spend big. Let's buy some top players that make us much better. Or are we going to do what Tottenham do very well quite a lot of the time, which is get in the Champions League, then sign a lot of average squad players. Everyone overrates them. I'll see loads of videos, everyone going, how this person solves this issue, this striker's brilliant, this player's great. Then just to flip-flop the next season and go, oh, but the manager wasn't backed. Which one are we going to see? Or are we going to see a hybrid? Now, Tottenham Hotspur, not unlike any other team, will have been doing the same thing all year. I hear this all the time. People start going, oh, we should be looking at targets. Football clubs, the way it will work, they will have been talking to people all day long. They would have had a list drawn up of players that they want to target. There would have been a list that we want to target if we get Champions League and a list we want to target if we don't end up in the Champions League. Because obviously you can pay more wages, you've got more revenue, and you've got the Champions League prize money coming in, so you know what you can forecast against for the next few years. But some clubs are much better at this than others. We've already seen Liverpool. They won the league, a month ago? Liverpool already, Frimpong done. Florian Wirtz is going to be done in the next few days. Talks that they're about to open talks with Bournemouth for Kirkes. You then look at Arsenal, Zubimendi. We know that deal was already done in principle. You're looking at Man United. The deal with Cunha is basically done. Apparently, Man U also want to open talks and are close with Liam Delap, with Mbeumo. Talks today that Man City are looking at Rayan Cherki, a player that we've been heavily linked with for the last month or so. Man City also looking at Morgan Gibbs-White. Man City also in talks with AC Milan about Tijani Reinders. So these clubs are moving. They've got their targets. They're moving fast. Now, are we? Now, what we can't do, and I've made this mistake before. I've made the mistake before of saying we're not doing anything. Now, what I can say is, in retrospect, I don't know if we're not doing anything. But what I do know is we're not hearing anything. And there's obviously two massive differences. So yes, Tottenham Hotspur will be in talks with agents. They will be in talks with intermediaries. Of course they will be. But, what? Sorry, as my dog is being really annoying and making a noise. Apologies for that. But are we doing enough? Are we in talks with players that make us better? Are we in talks with players that are imminent to get over the line? Because these other clubs seem to go bish, bash, bosh. We seem to take forever. Now, chuck into this, and before we look at a few players, now chuck into this. If we look, it's the situation. Paratici's coming back, we know that. But has he started already for Spurs? Because we know officially he can't start till the 1st of July. So is he working behind the scenes? Is he talking to players? Is he making things happen? We know how Paratici works. Paratici likes to speak to 7, 8 players in the same position, line them up, and then bring in the ones he likes. That's the theory. That's what we've been told in the past. Then you've got the whole Ange Postecoglou thing. Is he staying? Is he going? Does that affect who we bring in? Now, to an extent, it will. By the way, I think he's staying. You all know my opinion of him, but I think he's staying. But it changes, doesn't it? Some players won't want to come in and play in this gung-ho, absolutely crazy, shambolic system. Other players might. Some players will look at it and go, well, there's a lot of talk of unrest. They finished 17th. Some players won't care about that and they'll say, hey, they're in the Champions League. So there's a lot of stuff going on at Tottenham as always. And as I always say to people, It's never dull being a Spurs fan. But let's have a look at a few of the players that we are linked with and a few players that I've got a feeling. I can't sit here and say, oh my God, this is happening, but I've got a feeling. First one I'm going to say is Kyle Walker-Peters. This has got Tottenham Hotspur written all over it. Can cover right back and left back. Tick. Right? Tick. Because we need somebody, don't we, that can back up Porro, back up Udogie. Because we never buy anyone to challenge them. We only seem to buy backups. Tick. He's a free transfer. Tick. Right? Premier League experience. Tick. And more than anything, he's not just English, so homegrown. He's club trained. He's a club trained player from Tottenham Hotspur. So for me, I think this is going to be done. Listen, I don't mind Kyle Walker-Peters. It's not going to move the needle in any way, shape or form, is it? We know what we're getting if we bring him in. We're getting an experienced player who's going to cover right back and left back. And let's be brutally honest. Fans will lose their mind, say it's brilliant, it's what we need. But it doesn't move the needle. And you'll hear me say that a lot this summer. Are the signings moving the needle? Because in my opinion, Spurs need 4 or 5 players that we drop into that first 11 that are better than what we've got. That push 4 or 5 of the first 11 into squad players. That push 4 or 5 of the squad players into the transfer market and sold to make money. But for me, that is not what Kyle Walker-Peters is. Let me know what you think about Kyle Walker-Peters. The next one of the 3 players I want to talk about is Angel Gomez. Now, Gomez we know is on a free transfer. Tick. We also know that Gomez is homegrown because he grew up at Man United. Tick. Gomez can play attacking midfield, defensive midfield. Tick. This guy, again, has got Tottenham Hotspur and summer transfer written all over it. Now, that's not a bad thing. I quite like Gomez as a player. He's decent. He's good. I don't think he's a needle mover. Does he move the needle? Not for me. I think he's good. I think he's neat. I think he's tidy. He's technical. But again, this all boils down to how are Spurs going to play? I keep asking this. Are Spurs going to be the gung-ho, chaotic team that finished 17th, can't defend for their lives and let in 20 shots on our goal every game? Or are Tottenham going to turn up and be the team that put 10 men behind the ball in the Europa League and win the Europa League? Or is Ange finally going to coach and we're going to see some sort of hybrid that allows for a transition between the defence and the attack? Because that, for me, will change who plays where. If Angel Gomez, for example, is coming in and playing as your anchor man, technically brilliant. Is he too weak? Will he be out-muscled? What about when we lose the ball on the transition? Can he cope? So just food for thought, but I quite like him as a player, but not a needle mover. Now, the one that I do think is a needle mover, I love that saying, is Jonathan David. Now, this guy we have been linked with. Now, this guy, the reports are saying that Tottenham, along with a few other clubs, would like to sign Jonathan David. Now, Jonathan David is on a free, so tick. But Jonathan David, according to Romano and Plettenberg, but they, maybe Ornstein said it, was saying that Jonathan David wants a 15 million sign-on fee for himself. His agent is requesting a 10 million sign-on fee plus bonuses. So you're looking at about 25, 30 million. So it doesn't actually end up being a free transfer, but 25, 30 million pounds for a prolific goal scorer. Now, Jonathan David divides opinion. And I'll be honest, a couple of years ago, I was umming and ahhing and said, okay, he's had a couple of good years. But Jonathan David has now had 4 or 5 good years where he's scoring a lot of goals and he is a clinical goal scorer. He scores a lot of goals in the Champions League as well. And you know what? When I look at Richie, when I look at Solanke, they work hard, they press, they fight, they battle. But I never look at them and think clinical. I never look at them and think, you know what? They're going to shuffle the ball out their feet, whip one into the bottom corner. I never feel that. Jonathan David does that. He is a goal scorer. He will play on the last shoulder. He will score goals. So for me, I do think that's a needle mover. I do think he would go straight in as our number 1 striker. But let me know what you think. That's it for today with those 3 players. Jonathan David, Gomez and Kyle Walker-Peters. 3 free transfers. My mum would have told me off for saying it like that. Terrible grammar. Will we go in for those free transfers? Is this got Tottenham written all over it? Maybe, just maybe, Daniel Levy's got a surprise and some top players are coming in. Nah, I can't see it either. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know on those players. And we'll be back tomorrow. As always, come on, you Spurs.